The Mexican Flood Resilience Project prone communities to reduce disaster risk. The impact of flooding is different in each community where the project operates, and the use of flood protection infrastructure varies. Recently, we spoke to some community members about how flooding and coping strategies have changed over time. The community of José María Morelos y Pavón, Santa Rita, in the state of Tabasco, is surrounded by the rivers Teapa y Puyacatengo. Almost every year, both rivers overflow due to rainfall in the highlands of the state of Chiapas. Dulce has lived in the community all of her life and is a member of the Community Disaster Preparedness Brigade.
De aquí en la comunidad pues no habían bordos estaba el río pues libre, no había bordos de contención, ni de protección, ni de nada. Entonces al momento de que cuando venían las inundaciones, entraba el agua y salía. Ahorita en la mañana entraba, a las 5 o 6 de la mañana entraba el agua, por decirlo así. Ya en que eran como 12, 1 de la tarde empezaba a salir otra vez el agua. Y pues no nos llegaba el agua tan alto, sino tantito al tobillo, o como 50, 60 mililitros de agua. Pero pues ya ahorita, de ese tiempo hasta ahorita no, ya ahorita tenemos que utilizar cayucos, que nosotros le llamamos, embarcaciones ya para salir a comprar o hacer cualquier cosa.
While grey infrastructure can provide some protection for homes and community access roads from flooding, it can also have other consequences. Janet lives beside the river and has seen how the infrastructure that protects the highway impacts the area where she lives.
Es que no se derrumbaba antes no se derrumbaba, simplemente ahorita que pusieron un enrocado en la parte de los ríos de allá de la Federal, eso fue lo que el golpe de agua nos afecta a nosotros, porque ahora sí que se derrumbaba, pero no a exageración a esta magnitud. Entonces de un tiempo para acá sí nos afectó bastante porque derrumbó demasiado.
Community members have observed how the impact of flooding changes the geography of the area where they live. For example, riverbank erosion is increasingly evident, and now Janet can see that the water is just a few meters away from her house. The community of Manuel Vuelta y Rayón is located 6 kilometers from Santa Rita and is surrounded by a retaining wall, approximately 2.5 meters high. Protective infrastructure has helped to reduce the impacts of flooding. However, it cannot always guarantee full protection due to the uncertain timing and magnitude of floods, and this was the case in Manuel Vuelta y Rayón, when in recent years the floods surpassed the height of the retaining wall and the community was flooded. Dennis is the coordinator of the Manuel Vuelta y Rayón Disaster Preparedness Brigade. His grandfather was one of the founders of the community, so his family has seen how over time the community, as well as flooding, has changed.
Anteriormente las inundaciones era de un día, porque los rancheros de plátano no protegían su rancho con camellón, pero ahora sí los protegen. Y entonces, cuando no había camellón, el agua que desbordaba tenía toda su libertad. Y hoy en día no. Hoy en día todos los ríos, más que nada el que nos queda cerca, queda asolvado. Y bueno, cada vez que se rompe el camellón es seguro que nuestra comunidad se inunda y tarda hasta 4 días.
While the growth of the banana industry in the area represents a source of employment for many community members, the use of grey infrastructure to protect banana crops can lead to changes in river flows and potentially expose communities to flooding. In both of these communities, the impact of flooding has changed over time. Dulce, Janet, and Dennis show us how they perceive the changing environment, and they express the need to rethink the type of flood protection infrastructure that's used. Nature-based solutions offer an opportunity to mitigate flood risk while conserving and restoring natural ecosystems. These provide opportunities for communities themselves to undertake the construction and maintenance of sustainable infrastructure and thus strengthen their capacity to cope with disaster risk. The experiences of flood-prone communities indicate that there is a need to design flood protection infrastructure differently, to take into account the natural environment, community dynamics, and to propose solutions that facilitate community participation in flood preparedness actions.